2016 began right away with a huge success. We were ecstatic when nearly 2,500 tons of hazardous waste were finally transported away from Illatos Street in Budapest. It took 8 months of non-stop campaigning and knocking on the doors of various authorities to properly dispose of the toxic waste that had lain there forgotten for many long years. The cleanup was, of course, paid from public funds because the state tried in vain to pass on the costs to the owners. In order to avoid the further waste of public money on private irresponsibility, we cannot rest until the polluter pays principle is adopted. Unfortunately, our joy did not last for long. A few months later, a site even more seriously contaminated than Illatos Street was uncovered. Barrels filled with paints, solvents and unknown liquids were discovered lying around the outskirts of the town of Kiskunhalas. So now we are investigating, lobbying and campaigning again until this site is restored as well. As more and more forgotten, ticking time bombs of chemical waste are emerging, we decided to publish a booklet on Hungary's most polluted areas. Toxic Heritage aims to draw attention to the fact that strong government action and legal changes are necessary to eradicate illegal hazardous waste sites and to prevent further pollution. We are also fighting against the invasion of dangerous chemicals into our everyday lives. We have found that the component compounds of our favorite waterproof outdoor clothing has turned up in even the world's most remote locations. Therefore, we are calling on these companies to withdraw these seriously harmful substances from the manufacturing process. Unfortunately, the largest source of toxic chemicals in the environment is industrial agriculture.
A Greenpeace az elmúlt évtizedek tudományos eredményeit foglalta össze, és ezzel bizonyítja azt, hogy a vegyszerek, főleg a növényvédőszerek tönkreteszik a teljes élővilágot és ökoszisztémát.
We have explained how to reduce the number of toxic agents and made suggestions how to solve the problem to many institutions, such as in Parliament.
Megelőző intézkedésnek mit javasolnánk? Ellenálló fajtákat, kötelező vedésforgót, természetes ellenségeket, változatos növénykultúrákat, monokultúrák helyett, soros társításokat, talajjavító technológiákat és kvalitatív monitorozásokat. Nagyon sok országban ezzel jelentősen lehetett csökkenteni a vegyszer használatot.
During our cross-country tour in 2015, we realized that the biggest obstacle to the spread of organic farming is the lack of practical knowledge. So this year we held organic farming trainings for interested farmers across Hungary.
Ezeken az előadásokon minden hasznos. Mert mindig hall az ember olyat, amit valamilyen úton módon fel tud használni.
University training farms, municipalities and private farmers have promised to convert to organic farming. We will document the conversions in order to help other farmers too to make the transition. Sadly, the future of the Hungarian countryside is not only threatened by chemicals. State land auctions further aggravated the already critical situation of organic farming and in fact threatened the fate of the entire Hungarian countryside.
Sok helyen, ahol korábban évtizedeken át a legmagasabb biominőséget termelték, most beszántották a sárgulóbúzát, vegyszerekkel gyalázták meg a talajt.
With former Secretary of State Professor József Ángyán, we uncovered that land auctions in Fejér County had almost entirely excluded local small and family farmers. We will continue to document the entire procedure of state land privatization. Regarding the case of the land grabbing in Kiskunhalas, large strides have been made this year. The highest court ruled that the entire state land leasing and privatization process must be examined by the Constitutional Court. We are confident that the verdict will give strength and encouragement to all farmers who lost their land through state land auctions.
Könnyű bánni külső ellenünkkel, ha kivesznek-e belső bitangok. Hírem oslant, futok a toronyba, megkondítom azt a vészharangot.
Sadly, Ferenc Bolya did not live to take advantage of this verdict. Uncle Feri was not just a legend in Kiskunhalas, but throughout the whole Hungarian organic farming community. We bid farewell to him in October. His death leaves a void that will be never filled. We made the news when Greenpeace Netherlands obtained top-secret documents concerning the EU and US free trade negotiations. We made the papers publicly available in a glass room because we believe that these decisions should be fully transparent with full public participation. After all, their consequences affect all our lives. The secrecy surrounding the free trade negotiations known as TTIP, TISA and CETA comes as no surprise. The proposed agreements seriously violate democratic principles and heavily favor the interests of big business rather than the environment and people.
Mind a biológiai sokféleségre, mind az agrobiodiverzitásra nagy veszélyt jelent a CETA-nak, a TTIP-nek a lehetséges elfogadása. Azt látjuk, hogy ezek az óriás cégek, akiknek az az érdeke, hogy a vetőmagjukat az északitól a déli sarkig mindenhol vessék a gazdák, ők tulajdonképpen ráerőltetnék az akaratukat a nemzeti kormányzatokra is, és a piacra is, és tulajdonképpen egyeduralomra törnek, felüsztják egymás között a piacot.
A civil coalition successfully lobbied to hold a parliamentary debate on the issue. As a result, a progressive resolution was adopted that directs on what conditions can the Hungarian government support any free trade agreement. Our tree-lined avenues, groves and parks are crucial to the air quality in our cities. This year, however, the Hungarian government fought hard to build a museum quarter in City Park without getting the consent of or even meaningfully consulting professional bodies or NGOs. Thousands of people stood up to protect one of Budapest's most important public parks. And since the government did not ask the people if they wanted new buildings in the park, we did. The results speak for themselves. Our poll found that 81% of Budapest residents would not support the so-called renewal of City Park that would involve the construction of new buildings. We will not only fight for City Park, but for all of the country's urban green areas. In cooperation with urban planners, landscape architects and developers, we issued a 5-point manifesto which summarizes the institutional and legal conditions needed for the real protection of urban green areas. Alongside the most prominent representatives of professional bodies, Marcel Szabó, then Commissioner for Future Generations and future member of the Constitutional Court, has also joined our initiative. We carefully examined the planned expansion of the Paks nuclear power plant from the economic point of view, and we found that there is no scenario where Paks 2 would be a good investment, even if the government is trying to prove otherwise. To illustrate how unfounded the government's calculation is, our expert used the following metaphor.
Alapvetően azt gondoljuk, hogy amikor elolvastuk a Rothschild tanulmányt, a kormány által készített elemzést, hogy ez nagyon hasonlít arra egy gyerek által készített karácsonyi kívánságlistára, hogy végül is akár a Mikulás mindent meghozhat, és akkor mindenki boldog lesz, de azért nem valószínű, hogy az Xboxot is meg fogja hozni, meg a focilabdát is, meg a doboz csokoládét is.
Paks 2 is not only a disastrous investment, but also conceals serious danger to our health and our environment. The authorities nevertheless irresponsibly issued the environmental license for the new units. We appealed the decision, as if we didn't know enough about the dangers of nuclear power plants. This year was the 30th anniversary of the Chernobyl disaster and the 5th anniversary of Fukushima. Millions of lives were ruined by these two tragedies. We called attention to the need to focus on renewable energy sources instead of nuclear in Budapest's Hero Square, as they are the only proper solution from both an environmental and an economic perspective. 2016 was indeed an intense year, and our activists stuck by us all along. They are the ones who we can always rely on. They disseminate our messages everywhere and work tirelessly for a cleaner future, all for free and in their spare time. And we couldn't be here without our supporters either, such as Bence and Gyöngyi, and the other nearly 8,000 Hungarian citizens who support us with monthly donations or with 1% of their personal income taxes. If it were not for them, perhaps the toxins would still be seeping out at Illatos Street in Budapest. And it is thanks to them that we have been able to provide winter accommodation for tens of thousands of bees in bee shelters, and next year we can work with even greater determination for the full ban on bee-killing chemicals. Thank you all for your generous support throughout the year.